All right, guys. This is a show your work, a constructive response. It's not a multiple choice question. So what we're going to do is we basically have to be able to multiply to get rid of the parentheses, and then we're going to subtract this expression from this one. And it's saying that when we get done, we should have just one term. So let's see how that works. And then the other thing that we're going to do is when we get done, we're going to check this using the calculator. All right, so in order to get rid of the parentheses, so we're going to do this. So, and we're also going to do this. All right, so here's what we're going to have. So once we multiply these two together, 3, this is 1, so 3 times 1 is 3. X to the first power times x to the first power is going to be x to the second power. And then 3 times a -2 is going to be a -6. And then x1 times y1 is just going to be x1, y1. So this is equivalent to this. Now, remember, you can check this work by storing a number for x and y and making sure that these two equal. If they equal, then you know you've done it right. If they don't equal, that means you've made a mistake, okay? Honestly, I should show you that. Okay, this will make the video a little longer, but I think it's important to see that. So let me do this. I'm gonna go get the calculator. I'm gonna store 2. I'm gonna store 2 into x, and then I'm gonna store 3 into y, press enter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 3x parentheses x minus 2y. All right, now I'm going to fix this real quick. I know I need a multiplication symbol in between those two, but when I press this, I get a -24. Now, according to my answer, 3x squared minus 6xy, that's what I'm checking. So I'm going to put 3x squared minus 6x times y. Now, this should be a -24. If it's not, then that means I've made a mistake and I got to go back and fix it. I get a -24, so I know that this is right. Now I'm going to distribute these two. So this is going to be 6 times 1. So this is going to be 6x squared. And this is going to be 6 times the -1. So it's going to be -6xy. So again, I could do the same thing. In fact, let's do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 6 times parentheses x squared minus x times y. Press enter, I get a -12, and now I'm going to check my answer, 6x squared minus 6xy. So all I have to do is type that in, 6x squared minus 6x times y, press enter. They match, so that means that's good. Now I can go and I can finish this. So basically, I am going to be subtracting this expression from this one. So it's going to be 6x squared minus 6xy. And I'm going to subtract this whole expression. It's going to be 3x squared minus 6xy. Now, you got to distribute this minus to get rid of the parentheses. It's going to be 6x squared minus 6xy. This is going to be a -3x squared, and this is going to be a positive 6xy, because a negative times a negative gives us a positive. And now when we look at this, you can see that the -6x squared and the positive 6x squared are going to cancel out. And then all I'm left with is 6x squared minus 3x squared, which is going to be 3x squared. So this is one term, which is the monomial, and we are done. So all we have to do now is check it. So I'm saying that the answer, when I subtract this from this, I'm going to get this. So again, we can go to the calculator and let it help us. So let me do this. So I'm going to clear this, maybe 15. And then I'm going to take 6x squared, 6 parentheses, x squared minus x times y, close the parentheses, minus 3x. And I got to put a multiplication between the parentheses, x minus 2y. And then I press enter and I get 12. Now, the answer that I got when I simplified everything, I got 3x squared. This should be equal 3x squared should be equal to 12, and it is. So now I know that these two expressions are equivalent. They are equivalent. And I can feel comfortable with my answer because I checked it. All right, there we go. Now that's just a way when you're doing all this algebraic manipulation, at the end of the day, you should check that by saying, this is what I started with, this is what I finished with. They should be equivalent. If they are not equivalent, that means you've made a mistake and you're going to have to go back and find it. But if they are equivalent, then you can feel pretty comfortable that what you've done is correct. All right, so I'm going to stop and post.